Well, 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 well. Here we are, a day after All Out, and overall, I thought it was their weakest pay per view that they have had so far. Out of the, I believe it's 7 now they've had, or 6. I'm sorry. So the first 5 were all home runs to me. Different grades of really good, really, really good. I don't think that they spent enough time building the undercard because there were, some major issues with this show. I mean, I got to be honest. I mean, look, if I'm going to be, first of all, AEW is my very favorite wrestling. I have not been into a wrestling company like this in 2 decades. That is 100% accurate. So everything I'm saying is not taking away the fact that I think it is the best wrestling on television right now. But we have to, if we're going to be unbiased journalists, then we have to call a spade, so to speak. And there were a lot of issues with last night's pay-per-view in terms of production. Let's just come out and say it first and foremost. Jim Ross was terrible last night. He's been good lately, actually. Early, it looked like he didn't get his sea legs underneath him, screwing up names, screwing up finishing maneuvers, calling them that wrong. He lost his fastball, it looked like. But he's been better as of late. But last night, I don't know what Jim Ross was doing. But Jim Ross was atrocious last night. Screwing up names, finishers, stuttering. And I think it spilled over into Shivani and Excalibur as well. So first and foremost, Jim Ross, F last night. And I know people can't, oh my gosh, you can't say anything bad about Jim Ross. No, I'm sorry, I have to be honest. Jim Ross was a disaster last night. And then throw a little bit of a sexist comment about how he wished that there was a wardrobe malfunction during the women's match. So Jim Ross, and it's not about lightening up, and he said a tweet that people need to lighten up. Jim, that is the life, that is where we are at right now. That quintessentially is exactly where we are at. You can't talk about having a woman having a wardrobe malfunction and then telling people to lighten up about it. Tony Khan and AEW overall has been extraordinarily progressive, leaning left in a lot of their policies in terms of inclusion, in terms of treating people fairly. I know these really alien concepts about being nice and kind to everybody, not just certain people. AEW has been great with that. However, you're starting to see some things that if people really want to go after them the way they go after WWE, and I'm talking about AEW fans, they'll go after WWE for anything. I mean, how much did AEW fans kill WWE because of, obviously, the Velveteen Dream and the allegations against him and him coming back? Oh my God, fire Velveteen Dream, fire. You're going to fire a 24, 25-year-old super talented guy who's going to get another job in this business? No. WWE's going to be smarter than that. And it's the same reason that they didn't get rid of Sammy Guevara. But you had Sammy Guevara say what he said. You had Excalibur with of course, all this stuff was from years ago. But Excalibur, when he was an active talent, he used racism to get heat. That's what he did. I don't believe Excalibur is racist in any way, but he used the N-bomb to get heat in certain areas, with Kevin Owens, by the way, who also dropped the N-bomb. So the reality is there is a really thin line. But back to Jim Ross, I thought Jim just really struggled yesterday, and he was embarrassing at times. Let's be honest. And I hate saying that because I love Jim Ross. Listen to his podcast every week. Absolutely love Jim Ross, but he was an absolute... He has another night like that, he needs to go. And a lot of people are already saying he needs to go. I don't know if I agree with that, but he should. That should be strike 2 because he got off to a rough start. And then when you say, and by the way, this isn't the first time Jim Ross said something. At one time, Penelope Cruz she took her sunglasses off, and there was a shot. I think, and he was mentioning, and he was kind of hinting that he didn't notice her eyes because of her boobs. So Jim Ross says this stuff on his... Look, Jim Ross makes no bones about it. He loves attractive women, and he's very open about that. I think he needs... If Brandy Rhodes is going to look women in the eye and say that this is a different world, then you can't let Jim Ross say things like that. And it's not about lightening up, Jim Ross. It's about what's right. Objectifying women at this point in time is not going to get the job done. I don't care how much of a slobber knocker it is. Gorilla Monsoon never had that problem.